U.S. Surgeon General has called for a warning label on social media platforms, stating, "The mental health crisis among young people is an emergency, and social media has emerged as an important contributor." It has been reported on average adolescents spend 5 hours a day on social media, and an association between adolescents who spend more than 3 hours a day on social media are at an increased risk of having depression and anxiety. We are now at a day and age where we see mental health has become a serious social issue, and Surgeon General Dr. Murthy states, "We are living in the middle of a youth mental health crisis." It's important that we take these necessary steps in the right direction suggested by Dr. Murthy, such as warning labels like you'd see on nicotine products sold in the U.S., as he compares lack of social media regulations to putting children in cars with no safety features or on roads with no speed limits or regulations. Adolescents have little to no guidance when dealing with social media, yet are made to take a driver's ed class, practice driving, and then driver's test, all before getting a license that gives them free range. While minimal regulations exist pertaining social media, but they are still given that freedom, which is just one example. Adolescents actively engaging in social media can be exposed to harmful content that can manipulate their development and brains, such as online bullying, harassment, sexual and/or violent behavior. Many adolescents that we see dealing with problems such as anxiety, depression, body image issues, and confidence are at a distinctive phase of brain development where they are sensitive to social suggestions we might see on social media. Much of the problems that are faced pertaining adolescents and their active use of social media could simply be solved by parental regulations. Dr. Murthy emphasizes the importance of parents conversing with their children about the effects social media can have on a developing brain and how their children plan to use social media. Although this could be a way to help the youth mental health crisis, the majority of parents are ignorant to the effects of social media and how it can be harmful to their children. Because social media is relatively new and it has drastically changed over 20 years it's been around. Therefore, it would be impractical to fully blame parents, and we as a society, including government, need to work together to form a solution for this public health matter. The constant use of social media by adolescents can present itself like addiction would. It can change dopamine patterns depending on how one engages with social media. When kids start presenting themselves with addiction-like patterns, that should be the first reason needed to implement a warning label on social media platforms. We have regulations and law for other highly addictive substances like age limits set for alcohol and tobacco products. So why are we not implementing more regulations with how adolescents can interact with social media? A psychiatry specialist from Sanford Health Care, Dr. Elias, states, "Social media can lead to negative changes in personality with increased risk of impulsivity, aggression, and narcissism. Part of the development of adolescence is seeing those impulsive behaviors and negative personality traits wither away as they further grow and learn about themselves and the individuals they want to be in society. Social media is pointing individuals in the opposite direction with accepting or even promoting these negative behaviors and personality traits. One of the last things and more serious happens is increased risk of suicide and the correlation it has to the adolescents using social media. It is a sad reality that with the rise of youth mental health crisis and many adolescents struggling with anxiety, depression, and loneliness, we see an increase in suicide rates. This is why we need to see action taken with implementing regulations with social media among adolescents, starting with a warning label. One thing Surgeon General suggests to the public, along with educators and parents, is having phone-free zones at school and at home during meals, bedtime, and social gatherings, and having no access to social media until they are out of middle school. This allows for increased socialization and social connections, which is linked to positively affecting mental health. It is important for younger adolescents to develop routines, and such routines like having phone-free zones suggested by Dr. Murthy may be more beneficial for the health and well-being of the individual adolescent, the family, and education. There is no recognizable research saying that social media is safe for adolescents. While there is plenty linking consistent use of social media with decreased mental health, while a lot of good can come from the use of social media, it also has many adverse effects that can cause harm to mental health of developing adolescents.